thank you for watching my channel today. My name is Sarah and my channel is called Your True Self. And today I'm filming a video of 5-star predictions. So I recently watched Lauren from Lauren and the Books film this video, and she picked a number of books so that she could read one book each month for the rest of the year. So I've done the same, and I'll link her video down below so that you can watch her doing the same thing. And a lot of these books are by authors that I've already read and loved, and I haven't read anything else by them. So these are all physical books on my shelf, so none of them are audiobooks or Kindle books, even though I've got plenty of those that I'm sure would be 5-star read. I just wanted to read stuff that I actually had physical copies of that I could just pick up. So the first one of my 5-star predictions is Akin by Emma Donoghue. So I read The Pull of the Stars by Emma Donoghue, I think, yeah, last year, and it was my top 3 books of the year. And I've read Room by her, and this is one which is I got in hardback, and this is about an older gentleman who is just about to go travelling to France, and just before he goes, he gets a phone call from a social worker to ask him if he can look after his great nephew, who they don't really know each other very well at all. And so he decides that he will do so, and I believe that the little boy, who's about 11, goes on his travels with what's the chappie's name, with Noah, and they get to know each other over the course of this trip. And I love the way Emma Donoghue writes, so I think this is going to be a 5-star prediction, and I'm very excited to read this. And it's also got a really nice, it's got a really nice fluorescent sort of teal. It looks teal on the screen, but it's actually bright green in real life as well. So that's the first one. The second one is by an author that I haven't read before. I don't know if she's got more than one book out, but this is one that I got fairly recently, and this is a non-fiction book called The Beauty in Breaking by Michele Harper. This is a book which is a memoir. Michele Harper is an African-American ER physician in America, and she is basically used to working in a space which is largely composed of white men. And she said that she's also faced her own disappointments and heartbreaks, and came to realise that each of us is broken physically, emotionally and psychically. And this is how to recognise the breaks and how to mend them through her experiences as an ER physician. Obviously it appeals to me that it's written by a physician, because I'm a doctor too. And also that it's by a black doctor, because most of the sort of medical memoirs that are around, I don't think there's any that I've read or heard about that are written by black doctors. And also that it'll be interesting to read something set in the States, because I haven't worked in the States, I've only worked in the UK for the NHS. So that's going to be really interesting. The next one is one that everybody in the world has read apart from me, and I think initially when I got it, because it had been so overhyped, it sort of put me off, which can happen. But the one that everyone has read apart from me is Where the Crawdads Sing by Delia Owens. So this is a much beloved book. Lots of people absolutely adore this book. So this is set in the late 1960s, and where are we? In North Carolina on the coast, a quiet town. There's stories of the marsh girl who's actually called Kaya, and when somebody's found dead, everybody sort of suspects her. And they've actually sort of really misjudged her, and so that's what this is about. And I think this is coming out as either a film or a TV adaptation soon, and therefore I'd like to read it. I think it's a film, but I'd like to definitely read it before then. The fourth one is one by an author who I've only just read for the first time. So I recently watched and absolutely devoured Heartstopper on Netflix. I loved it so much. I'll probably rewatch it again because I couldn't stop watching it. I really looked forward to watching it every night. I just absolutely adored it, and I went out and bought Heartstopper book 1, which I also adored, and then I've had another Alice Oseman book on my shelves for ages and I haven't read it, and that is Loveless. And so this is definitely going to be a 5-star prediction based on the amount that I loved Heartstopper, and I can't wait to read the rest of the Heartstopper series. So this is about a girl called Georgia who is going off to uni, and she wants to have a normal sort of uni experience, but she's never had a partner before, and she's never kissed anyone, she's never been in love, and she basically wants to do this to have a normal university experience. But then she hears about terms called asexual and aromantic, and she's more uncertain about who she is than ever. So I think this is very much about her discovering her identity, and I've never read a book with an asexual character before, so it's something that I'd like to learn more about as well. And I've heard just great things, and I'm sure that I will want to read all of Alice Oseman's work soon, because if I really love this one and I've loved Heartstopper, I'm just going to keep going with all of her works. And yeah, the last three are also by favourite authors, but I just haven't read their next books. The one I'm going to mention next, their other book that I've read, is my favourite book of all time when people ask me. So my favourite book of all time, I think, is The Book Thief by Markus Zusak. And so when he released another book, I went out and bought it in hardback, and for some really crazy reason, I haven't read it yet. So this is written in 2018, and it is called Bridge of Clay. So this is focusing on 5 brothers who have been sort of running amok and raising themselves with an absent father. And so they have no parents, they're all living at home, and they're just kind of doing whatever they like. And then one day their father comes back home and says that he wants them to volunteer to help him build a bridge. And our main character that we follow is called Clay, and he has a long buried secret. He's quite broken, and he decides he wants to build the bridge with his dad. And I guess it's about learning about Clay, and also about the family dynamics and everything like that. It says it's written in Markus Zusak's style, and that's what I really loved so much in The Book Thief. His style of writing was really for me, and I'm really excited to read this because I love The Book Thief like so much, and I've read it several times and I still love it just as much every time. So this one, I think it's because there's a lot of pressure on this book to be 5 stars after how much I loved The Book Thief, and maybe that's why I haven't touched it yet, I don't know. The next book I've got on my list is one where the other books that I've read by this author have been on my favourite books of all time list, and I've been saving this one, and this is And the Mountains Echoed by Khaled Hosseini. So The Kite Runner and definitely A Thousand Splendid Suns, which I've read more than once, are on my favourite books of all time list. The Kite Runner, I think I might have been a little bit hasty in putting that on, because it was definitely a 5-star read, but it has faded a little bit, whereas with A Thousand Splendid Suns I can remember it really, really well because I've reread it. So I think I need to reread The Kite Runner, but I absolutely love his other books. I've had this for quite a while. So this is following a brother and sister. So the brother is called Abdullah and the sister is called Pari, and it's set in Afghanistan, as his books are, in the 1950s. And Pari and Abdullah have a really, really close relationship. I think Abdullah would do anything for her, and they sleep in the same bed, and they're just like best friends. And then one day they go across the desert to Kabul with their father, and it says that they have no sense of the fate that awaits them there, for the event which unfolds will tear their lives apart. Sometimes a finger must be cut to save the hand. Yes, I can't wait. This is going to be amazing. I know it is. It's going to be wonderful. And I love the cover as well. And then the final book that I've chosen is another one who the author's other book is on my favourite books of all time list. And this is To the Bright Edge of the World by Eowyn Ivey. So I read The Snow Child by her a long time ago, and I absolutely loved it. And then I bought this in hardback, and again, I haven't read it yet. So it came out in the year 2016, so I've had it for 6 years and I haven't read it yet. So this book is following a chap called Colonel Alan Forrester, and he has gone to he's based in a military base, and he's gone as part of a mission to explore the Wolverine River in undiscovered Alaska. And he's taken his pregnant wife with him, and she's not very happy that she's going to be left on her own for a year in these military barracks, like becoming a mum for the first time. But it says that her journey will be just as difficult as his in different ways. And this is all made up of things like diary entries and letters and photos. And it's actually got quite big writing, so I think it will be quite easy to read this. So there's there's photos in here. Whoops. There's some drawings, and yeah, I think it's all told in letters and diary entries. I don't think there's any actual sort of like scenes where we're the observer, if you see what I mean. So yeah, that one I can't wait. And I just realised I picked 7 and I actually want to pick 8 because there's 8 months of the year if you include this one left. And the last one I picked is one that I saw Jen Campbell recommend, and I don't know for sure if it's going to be a 5-star read, but it's one that I'm really, really interested in. And also every year for work we have to have an appraisal, and we have to set sort of goals each year that we want to achieve over the course of the next year. And one of the goals that I set was that I wanted to read more books by authors with chronic illness and disability, because I find that when I do that, it really gives me an insight that I didn't have before into some of my patients' lives. And this one is Ill Feelings by Alice Hattrick. So this is about chronic fatigue syndrome, which is something that we see fairly often in general practice, and something which is quite difficult to manage because it's an illness that we don't really understand very well at all, and there's no cure for the illness. There's no sort of medication that you can use as a cure. And so this is about, so it says in 1995, Alice's mother collapses with pneumonia. So this is non-fiction. She never really fully recovered and was eventually diagnosed with ME, or chronic fatigue syndrome. Then Alice got ill. Their symptoms mirrored their mother's and appeared to have no physical cause. They received the same diagnosis a few years later. Ill Feelings blends memoir, medical history, biography and literary non-fiction to uncover both of their case histories, and branches out into the records of ill health that women have written about in diaries and letters. Their cast of characters includes Virginia Woolf and Alice James, the poets Elizabeth Barrett Browning and Emily Dickinson, John Ruskin's lost love Rose Latouche, the artist Louise Bourgeois and the nurse Florence Nightingale. Suffused with a generative, transcendent rage, Alice Hattrick's genre-blending debut is a moving and defiant exploration of life with the medically unexplained illness. Doesn't that just sound amazing? Maybe it just sounds amazing to me because I'm a doctor, but I just think that sounds so, so interesting. It's a shame the cover is quite so boring, but I just think it sounds amazing. So actually, I think this is definitely a 5-star prediction because I think this is going to be very insightful. So that is the 8 books that I've chosen. So I'm going to read one of them a month. I'm going to leave them out in a pile so that I don't forget to pick one of them. I haven't picked TBRs I just don't really pick TBRs, but every time I watch Lauren pick a TBR, I think, oh, I'd really like to do that. But yeah, so I'm glad that I've picked 8 books off my shelves that I'm really excited to read. I'm probably going to read Ill Feelings first because my appraisal is in June. So I need to make sure that I've read it and written about it for my appraisal to make sure that I have achieved that goal that I wanted to achieve. So that'll probably be the first one, and then I think we'll just go by mood after that. So if you've read any of these, tell me what your thoughts were, and if you have some books that you think will be 5-star predictions that you're excited to read before the end of the year, then please tell me what those are. And I hope you're having a lovely week, and I'll speak to you all soon. Bye bye.